Okay, meeting will come to order. Record will show that we have 5 members present, which is a quorum. The first item is to accept the minutes of our last meeting. Does anyone have any questions about? I went through them and they agreed with my notes. Did you have a question?
No.
Oh, you're all in voting.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented? The vote is 5-0. Just that. Where are we with the budget review, Nicole?
Start with recreation. That there is a budget change for the recreation department from when you reviewed it the first time. So we have been presented with a proposal for a summer art program. So you should have in your packet a revised department budget with a budget for the summer program. So I've increased the activities.
Excuse me.
The activities line, 28 for the recreation and community services to 15,000. I added 13,000 for the summer program. On the other side, it did add 13,500 to the revenue. So the net costs to the taxpayers has actually gone down $500 with that addition of the summer art program.
So the summer art program is,
So I added it under for the revenues, I added it under registration. It's there. Yes,
okay, recreation registration.
And there's this page over the financial worksheet, is that the slide reverse?
yeah, so this is kind of the art camp financial proposal. So it has a total expense of 12,800, but I added 13,000 to the budget. In case there's anything confused with anything that's proposed.
So if it came in on budget, we'd be 700 to the good. Okay.
Yes.
How okay, 2 questions. How qualified is Katie Dudak to bring this up?
So my understanding, this has been a summer art program that's been running for years.
Where?
Through Marion Meeting Art Center in the school.
So why the change to the recreation department?
For the use of the school, the school partner will allow the town to use their facility. So basically this takes, it's a program that has been running in Bodenham. She does have a usual following for participants. Because of changes, it needs a new home, so it would become a town program.
So the reason for this is we're going to be hosting this in the community school now. And where is it? Where was it previously hosted?
I believe it was at the art center.
At Marion Meeting
I
Arts.
believe so. But I don't have that. Jason's working with an electrician right now, and then he can pop in. chat, answer questions if you. So this actually has come about recently. So it's also on the board's agenda for Tuesday night to approve this new program to be part of our rec. So.
Is this going to affect any other expenses such as insurance, liability issues?
Well, I mean, we'll be hiring 2 new employees.
Okay, that's the 13,000.
Yes.
To the
Well,
town payroll,
employees, it's gonna be 10,000.
Okay,
to the town payroll,
Yes, because so for them, so we're gonna have to hire the folks that are going to be running the camp.
So these are part-time positions.
They'll be part-time position for this camp. correct?
with no,
no benefits.
No. No. I think one employee is going, the director is gonna be, so the camp is 4 weeks. The director is budgeted at full-time. Perfect timing. Perfect timing for 6 weeks. And a part-time assistant for 4 weeks. Right about this?
That sounded correct, what I just heard.
So, and the other question was, this used to be, where did this used to take place? At the art center?
Yes, I mean, ours.
And they want to relocate to the school, and that involves it becoming a town program.
Correct.
for it to happen.
Yeah, for the only way for them to do it at school would it be if it's recreation program. Sorry,
Just
the only way for it to be at the school.
Why is it getting out of the art center?
They've outgrown the space, they just don't have the room there to do it, yeah, it's pretty small space down there. So going up to the school, it gives them a bigger space indoors and also gives them outdoor space that they can use, which is a big interest in that, because they want to do a lot of outside activities as well.
Makes sense.
Yes.
they use that greenhouse.
I don't, so last I heard, they were actually planning to use that again this year. They were gonna revitalize that and get it back into service. I haven't heard a recent update, but I had heard that, so hopefully, yeah.
So the 13,000 five in enrollment, is that a projection? Or is that, I think that the people signed up?
No, it's projection. We haven't opened it up yet to registrations. That's the projection based on 15 registrations per week for over 4 weeks.
How does that compare to the actual that the Mary Meeting Arts Center did in the past?
So she didn't have it open to 15 before because they couldn't fit in that space, but she was turning away registrations down there.
So how much money did they make with the smaller space?
With the smaller space, I think they charge the same amount for the registrations.
How about a total?
I'm not sure that number, the total number they brought in, I'm not sure, I could find out for you, but
That would be helpful.
Do you know how many students she had?
I want to say she did it for like 8 or 10 down there per week over the 4 weeks, so we could crunch that out, I suppose.
And had full enrollment.
Full enrollment and we're turning folks away.
Well, that sounds encouraging.
Yeah, I think it would be a great program, a great addition. That's something we have historically offered, and I'm excited to help them out with it. And so is the school. They've been great. The community school's been really helpful as well. They're allowing full use of all of their art equipment over there, the kiln and all the pottery machines. I don't know all the technical names, but all of the equipment that they have in the art area, and allowing us to store all the supplies over there that are needed inside their art room, which is kind of nice. We don't have to bring stuff back and forth for each session. So they've been really helpful.
Okay, so from a financial perspective, if we had the revenue, the historical revenue and the historical expenses to look at, then we could say, yeah, this makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, well, and that's what I've tried to do in this worksheet of, talking with Katie, who ran it before down at Match, we went through all of her supplies and equipment and whatnot and tried to gather based on what she had done down there to estimate those numbers. And I'm pretty confident in the numbers that we have because it's been held in the past. We're just scaling it a little bit bigger.
Be nice to see it on paper.
Okay. Well, that's why I tried to set up this worksheet for you to give an idea, but I can track down more historical stuff for you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. They must have to file a tax return or something.
So I think this was a private person offering a program at the ocean.
So may or may not have filed a tax return.
For this program, I'm assuming. You know, what they have for details on what they ran for the program. Any other questions on the program or the revised budget?
I appreciate you all taking another look. Sorry, this one kind of came in last minute. And it's a little difficult because it's spanning fiscal years. It's a little complicated to get it all on paper correctly.
But we're adding this to the 2025 budget. Even though the program's gonna start in the summer.
The registration would open prior to the end of this fiscal year, but the actual classes likely won't take place until July, right?
So we're gonna we'll work with our auditor on how to account for that, because we're gonna be taking in the funds this year, but we'll be expending them.
This year, but we're spending
Right.
next year.
Right, and so I think we'll be able to do an accounts receivable from this year to next year, because they're paying for the program that is next year.
Well, personally, I'm glad to see us offering a summer program for something other than athletics.
There seems to be quite a bit of desire for that, so that's why
It's a good thing.
yeah, so we tried to jump on board and get it in, even though it was late.
Other questions about this?
So the select board will be looking at it, it's coming Tuesday, we have a meeting following Thursday. So we-
Well, I'm prepared to entertain a motion that we add the 13.5 to the rec budget. Recommend it to the right more. If they don't approve it, then you can't come back and revisit. Yeah. But still, trying to keep the numbers as up to date as we can. So is there a motion to add the 13.5?
Just so you know, you haven't approved the rec budget yet. And so you could just do a motion to approve the budget. So you reviewed it previously, but you didn't approve it previously.
Okay, thank you. So in that case, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the rec budget as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Nadia. There's a second? Second, Jeff. All in favor? Vote is 5-0.
5-1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Your vote.
yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see you again. Hopefully I don't have to come back and bother you again.
All right.
I'm just curious, Gene, why are you as well? Very close.
How long has Jason worked for the town?
Just over a year?
I was gonna say last summer.
About a year.
I have been troubled from day one with the amount of the salary increases to the department heads. I felt all along that they were too heavy. Going to the median, I guess if if you've got established people with a long-term track record, that makes sense. But somebody with 1 year on the job automatically, going to the medium, that's something you should strive for at 1 year. So, that's why I'm voting no.
I'm just curious, thank you. Okay, what's next?
Town facilities and maintenance. Please. So this is a budget that hasn't been reviewed yet. It should have a date of 2/26 on the bottom.
That's not them, most recent.
No, so this one's back from the original package,
Oh, okay.
the original.
So it's not with them.
Yeah, so tonight I'd really like to get through the budgets you haven't seen, we haven't talked about yet, so if we can have some once over. Then if we can make some progress on updates and ones that were previously included, that would be great.
So that's the, T26.
Correct, 26 from your original packet.
That's the budget that shows the detail from 5,100 to 2.
Yeah, so we have a decrease of $5,000 for town hall maintenance and repair. So previously that was a 6,000. I'm requesting 1,000 for this year, just in case there's something we need to do over there for this upcoming year, just in terms of general. So that's a $5,000 decrease. For the waterfront maintenance and repair, I've reduced that budget by 5,000. Moving the installation and removal of the navigational aids to the harbor master budget. Instead of it being under waterfront maintenance and repair, because it really is navigational aids, the wake aids are for the harbor. And then the street lighting, reduced that by 5,000 as well. So, but there is a proposed increase for the town office maintenance and repair. So there's a net decrease in this budget of 12,500 for a total request of 106,850.
Before I spent most of the day when I wasn't vacuuming, looking through the big book, and I saw there were a lot of entries for this kind of thing, for capital improvements and reserves that combine the town office with the town hall, and I was wondering if that could be separated.
So this is our regular maintenance. This is it. So for some reason, I can't answer to why. So the town hall reserve, it is a reserve for the town hall and the town office. So that's the reserve. But this is for our operating budget. So we have a town office maintenance and repair, and we use this for the smaller items that we try to take care of. Then we have the town hall maintenance and repair and utilities. Then we have the waterfront maintenance and repair, and then we have waterfront utilities.
Okay,
They're operating.
you mentioned navigational aids. What happened to the old navigational aids?
We have them.
So what are we spending money on?
We pay to get them installed and removed. It's like in the past, it's been 1,500 to install them and 1,500 to remove them.
Yes.
And they're the new owner of that business, so I'm budgeting additional funding and assuming that charge is going to go up.
Because Jim sold his place.
Correct.
Um. Do we have a contract with the new person?
And actually, they're only person that in the area to do that. We've looked, I know John had looked in the past at other options and there really isn't any. It's
So do we have a contract with Jim?
just something he's done on an annual basis.
Thank you.
Line 8 Memorial Day, is that the flags?
It is.
Any other questions? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion that we accept the town facilities maintenance budget as presented. Thank you, Diane. Is there a second? Oh, sure. Thank you, Jeff. All in favor? Vote is 5-0.
Next, if we could look at animal control and harbor master.
And we have a new one of those.
There is a new one for those, so you should have. And one that, the original was dated 2/26. And then I have hired a new harbor master.
That's the sheet dated 3/20.
And so there is an updated sheet 3/20, and I can talk about both of those as well. So, the harbor master salary, I'm proposing a slight increase from, so the original.
Can we
Yep.
start at the top with the ACO?
Yep.
It seems like a pretty significant jump. Have we been hauling more dogs to the pound or pound? Versus,
So I think this is where I budgeted these positions at $20 an hour.
okay,
And previously they were budgeted at like 18.
okay, so that's an increase in the hourly rate
Mhm.
and it's based on historical data. Of how many
It's
hours.
yeah, we'll say it's an average of 18 hours a week. I'm sorry, 15 hours a week.
This is another one of the ones that I thought were too heavy. 36.8% increase.
Who's currently doing this?
We have our harbor master is Cliff Daigle. I think he's been the town harbor I'm sorry, animal control officer. He's been the animal control officer for the town as long as I've been with the town, so over 15 years.
I just reporting what I see on Facebook. There's somebody on the Wiles Road whose dogs are running loose, chasing deer. And the animal control officer and the game warden were unsuccessful or unwilling or unable to do anything about it. So, to me, that tells me the guy isn't doing his job, at least as it relates to that one particular.
I believe that person has received paperwork and there's procedures in place on that.
Well, you know, I also see the deputy sheriff of Saginaw County, who didn't take the guns away from the guy in Bowden, is now running for sheriff. Now, how backwards is that?
I don't, Gene, I don't think that somebody can do the button here.
Okay, I retract that comment.
So I'd say, I mean, in terms of our animal control officer, I think one of the struggles with this, you know, people do get upset because they're like, well, I called and they didn't answer. I don't think it's realistic to expect someone to be on call 24/7. That we're paying $11,000 a year. So he does get back to people, he does follow up on things. Facebook might not accurately reflect what's happening. So I think these are one of the positions, it's a stipend position. And one of the things that we're needing to do, and we're, taking steps on, is moving folks from stipends to hourly positions. Because with how the changes in the laws over the last several years, you really do have to sort of hourly. So,
Federal law as well.
and we're
That's
gonna
been in
be,
effect for a while.
yes, it has. So we've been making changes as staff has changed. But this is one of the ones that we'll still need to, we'll need to change in the future.
But we're changing it now.
Well, I'm just proposing us, I,
Okay. Let me see if I can understand this correctly. So the current budget year, that's a stipend position. And now we're changing it to an hourly position based on changes in state law.
I am budgeting for hourly positions.
Okay, but we're making a change in how the town has done this.
Yes, so I am budgeting for it. The process of changing it might. Some positions will take longer to officially change than others. Because there's a process in changing someone's job description, and how that happens. So I'm budgeting for it so that I can make those changes.
Okay, so in addition to the financial aspects of it, you should let line one here. The select board is going to have to approve a new job description. Is that part of the package?
Well, and we'll have to have an agreement with our employee and so forth, yes. So that's why,
So
none of these are straight cut.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is we've had changes in law at either state or federal level. We now have to respond to these changes to take this to an hourly position from a stipend position. Part of that process will be for the select board to approve the new job description. And then at some point you sit down with the current holder of that position and we tell them what's going on. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yes, there are changes in how some of these positions need to be administered.
Gene,
Is it possible during that negotiation to negotiate a number of hours that the animal control officer would work that would end up less than the 36.8% increase?
So could we set times and hours? I think the difficulty in this position is it depends on when folks call and what the issues are. So I don't want an animal control officer telling someone, sorry, I'm out of hours for this week.
Would you expect a time report from the animal control officer?
But yes, we are doing that currently.
Okay.
so you've got your arms.
We implemented time cards for employees 2 or 3 years ago. Because with the new EPL, you have to track hours worked so that folks can get the EPL benefit.
EPL or paid leave.
Correct.
Okay.
I've known personally a lot of game wardens over the years, and I've never been arrested by one. And I know that they work more than 40 hours a week.
For the state public.
But they have a similar job. They're gonna get calls at 2 o'clock in the morning about somebody poaching deer, et cetera, et cetera. So that comes with the territory. And I'm just saying that this seems to be an awfully large increase, understanding that we're going from whatever we had to an hourly rate, and the person works for the town, so the town should be able to tell them how many hours they're willing to pay it for. Understanding that that may impact on his ability to chase the dogs on the wild road.
So at this point, so that amount is budgeted at 15 hours a week for $20 an hour.
And harbor master as well. Same scale.
So harbor master, I budgeted at 160 hours per year at $20 an hour.
Thank you.
And that's based again on historical numbers, of how many hours.
Records aren't as helpful.
Okay, so we're trying to drag the town into the new century.
We are trying. So I will say, when our previous harbor master left, we had to, so if we have an employee, or a stipend position, and the hours they work, they end up making less than minimum wage, you have to pay them minimum wage. We had to pay our harbor master because he was not making minimum wage for the hours he was working. So part of what we've done is we re-looked at that position, what we want them to do. And I worked with the select board on that last year for coming forward, so.
150 hours a year.
60.
150 hours a year for the harbor master.
So previously. Yeah, they're working more than that.
So the season is like 5 months, maybe. So that's 30 hours a month. I've had 2 boats that I go down the Catanets regularly. And in 32 years, I have never seen the harbor master. Never.
Spring cold. So it's 160 hours, 160 hours. And you're budgeting $20 an hour.
Right, and then so that's what the original budget of the 3,200 was. And on the 320 budget, I increased it by 430 for some additional hours because we have some reorganization to be doing. Just getting everything reorganized. I think, we're going to be in a transition period. I have a new harbor master that needs to gather the data, learn the harbor, find where everything is, and there's additional time that takes. He's also recommended that we go to an online mooring program, which I think would be very helpful for folks that have moorings, because then folks can apply for their moorings online without the paper application. And then you have right online, you can see the harbor, you can see who's in it. It's better for tracking what's happening, where things are, opposed to right now, what we have is we have a lot of paper. You don't have maps corresponding to it. So, just trying to find the appropriate information and start getting it together. So, and I think that will save a lot of time.
How or does the fact we're gonna have a new second boat launch impact this position?
At this point, so one of the things that we've done is we've scaled back the position, so there isn't the enforcement aspect of it. They're really just addressing the moorings. And the navigational aids and wake aids.
I'm sorry, what was the last?
The navigational and no wake aids.
No, wait, no wait.
Oh, no, wait, okay, thank you, John.
So, but I think part of it is just, like I said, in a new position, reorient, getting yourself oriented to the position, the harbor, where things are, the history of it. But I think moving to the online program next year will help standardize a lot of things, which will, probably help us reduce hours.
How many moorings do we have?
I think just under 50.
Are they all utilized?
No, that's why I think we have like around 50 moorings, but they're not all utilized, so 40. 30.
When was the last time that the rates were increased for those moorings?
It's so they did a few years ago, they increased them from, I think, 30 to 50. One of the things I think we'd be looking at doing is when we go to the online program, increasing them to cover the cost of the online program.
And
But
that's,
right now they're 50 and 100. It's 50 for a resident, 100 for a non-resident.
and that's for the season.
That's pretty cheap.
What does the online program do?
Well, folks can apply for their mooring application, enter all the information online.
Okay,
They get their notice that they need to renew. You can see where all your moorings are in your harbor because there's a GPS location on things, and it's a in terms of tracking your moorings and your mooring inventory.
How do our rates compare to other facilities?
I would have to, I could talk to him. I mean, he's also the harbor master for Brunswick.
Sure.
So, and I think he thinks that theirs are too low as well, so. But
we used to have a mooring at Falls Marina. And I can tell you, it was a hell of a lot more than $50. Can I make a suggestion? Couldn't we come to some compromise on like a 15% increase to cover the hourly wage, but reduce the expected number of hours? So that we could feel comfortable in approving this?
for the animal control. So, I mean,
For harbor ministry,
Harbor master.
you're only. For the season, you're only talking 30 hours a month. How are you going to reduce that very much?
To 25.
Is that practical? That's the thing. That can be determined.
we're gonna be making some changes, so I think the first year is gonna take more hours. And then if we're able to make some adjustments, I think those hours, will change. So I thought you were referring to the animal control officer.
Well, we can do it with that one too.
Right, so I know, so for example, harbor master, it showed a 26% increase, that's $750.
So how about half?
I would not support that, but that is not my decision.
All right, well then,
So I'm just looking at it, I know the percentage is high for the harbor master at 26%, but once again, it's $750. I think part of it is getting if we want to do moorings and navigational aids and all of that, we need to get all of that more organized and do that more appropriately. And so I don't think that's a big budget. Now, the animal control officer, that's almost a 37% increase. That's a $4,200 increase. Do we want to cut some of that? So, like I said, I am budgeting based on hourly positions. The harbor master position is now hourly. It's a new employee, they are hourly. My ACO is no change at this point in time. if they work more hours, I need to pay them to make sure they're making minimum wage. But I'm setting things up so that we can make changes, but I'm not planning on making changes immediately. Cause it'll depend on, there's more involved in it and it may take time.
How often do these people get paid? Monthly?
It depends on the position. Some of the stipend positions are quarterly, some are monthly. So then you're getting you're getting a stipend payment when you haven't worked, so you're well over minimum wage, but then you're getting a quarterly payment when you've been working, so you're way under minimum wage. It really is. We've made a lot of strides, but there are still things to be addressed.
Okay. How often do these people submit timesheets?
It depends on the position. Some are monthly, some are bi-weekly, some are.
Okay, for the ACO and the harbor master,
Mhm,
those are the two we've been talking about.
mhm.
How often do they submit timesheets?
ACO is monthly, harbor master was quarterly. Yes. Because they work quarterly. But that's previously, so I've hired a new harbor master. They are going to be an hourly employee and they will be submitting timesheets bi-weekly with everyone else. They will not be a stipend position. They are going to get paid bi-weekly for the weeks they work.
Nicole, what's the expectation of the new harbor master as far as the salary goes?
$20 an hour.
I wish, no.
No?
So I have an agreed upon salary with the new harbor master,
And what is it?
$30. 30. I was hoping to be at 25, but. I don't think folks realize what these positions take and what it costs to fill them.
What kind of credentials does a harbor master need?
There's a state or certification.
Right, so harbor masters are law enforcement officials. We just don't ask that of our harbor master. The harbor master that we hired is a fully certified harbor master that also works for the town of Brunswick.
Did you say 30,000?
No, 30 an hour.
God, no.
$30 an hour.
30.
Then why are we budgeting at 20?
Because this is what we did previously. So this person has just been hired. So this is what I had done for you back in the beginning of February. So I talked with him about the budget. And that's part of it is I think there's going to be some additional hours this first year to get everything organized.
I guess where I'm having a problem, Nicole, is if you've already hired him at a higher rate than what we're budgeting for,
Mhm.
doesn't that create a built-in?
It means that he needs to do his job in 100 hours over the season instead of 160 plus.
How about 80?
Okay.
I mean, we can not do moorings and navigational aids, and
Well,
this position wouldn't be needed.
Need to raise the rates.
yeah, I
To cover some of that deficit.
Yeah, Jeff's absolutely right. We need to make a recommendation to select, or did we raise those?
Which historically have been well below the market price.
Yeah.
Historically, for 32 years, they've been giving it away.
Maybe we need to stop doing that.
Okay,
50% increase, go from 50,100 to 75,150.
I just want to see our mooring fees are line 42, and this thing is way too long. I need mooring fees. Right now, we're budgeting $1,000 on mooring fees. So that's mooring fees. The other piece is the navigational aids and wake aids. The installation of them, the removal of them, the upkeep of them. So last year, I don't know if it was spring or fall, we had to update a bunch of the moorings with new balls or new chains or a combination thereof.
But if you're talking $1,000, then you have 40 mooring. And you say it's $50 for a resident, that's only 20 moorings.
Well, what did we bring in last year? So far, so last year we received 1,600.
That would be, or that would be. If you had all that's local residents, that'd be 32.
Mhm.
That's nowhere, and you said we have 40 to 50,
I'm looking at an old spreadsheet.
right?
I don't know how. I have a list of slips or mooring IDs. They're not all completed.
Mhm. Seems like if our rates are so low that we need to, number one, increase it, number two, publicize that we have open mooring.
Yeah. Yeah. We looked at in Yarmouth, in the Royal River,
Mhm.
there's a company that will basically rent you a boat and a slip. $5,000 to get into it, $5,000 a year. To just walk down, get on the boat, and off you go down the Royal River. So that's way more than what is he getting in Brunswick? What is he getting for moorings in Brunswick? What does
What is
Paul
the
Marina in Mill Point get for
I
mooring?
have to ask. So I mean, right now we've budgeted 1,000. Last year we took in 16. The year before we took in 14.
What David would recommend to the select board that we raise the mooring rate at least to cover the cost of the harbor master.
Yes.
You're not gonna come close. You're not gonna even get it anywhere near that. The harbor master is getting 3,600.
Yeah,
Um,
so that's 36 moorings at $100 a mooring,
right,
which is cheap.
That's true, but you're talking about going from 50 to 100, and residents are gonna raise hell
Well, that's for the select board to work on it.
But if you went to 75 and then 150 for non-residents. And advertise that a little bit, you'd probably get more moorings out there.
Yeah, and more moorings, more people we have in here, that brings in business to the pub and to the country store and so forth.
That's correct. Need a big shot.
So
Gasoline too. We do have at least bathrooms there.
Yeah.
Even if we don't have any place to dispose of garbage or anything regarding food except for the pub. And they're limited hours.
Okay, where are we've been talking about the ATO and the river demonstration. And Paul's told us how to use budgeting these. We've determined that we have an issue with the mooring fees. And we need to recommend to the select board that those be significantly increased. Are we all kind of in agreement about at least the mooring fees being increased? I don't think we need to vote on this.
A recommendation,
Yeah.
yes.
Uh, So have we beat those two enough?
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay. Moving, okay, so that takes care of lines 1 through 5 on this ACO Harbor Master budget. The mileage reimbursement for the ACO. But we just haven't been paying them. Is that what it boils down to?
No, I mean, we pay them, but there's a lot of mileage when they're getting calls and having to go.
And what is the state rate now?
I
No,
have
it's
to,
less than the IRS.
I have to check. I check it every January when it gets changed.
Nicole,
Mhm,
let's see, $4,000
mhm.
install and removal of navigational aids. How come there wasn't any cost in the previous?
It was in the facilities budget under waterfront. I'd like folks to get an idea, like, understand how much this costs by putting it in the one
Okay,
budget.
and could you summarize what those numbers might have been?
What do you,
The previous year's cost of the installation and removal of navigational aids?
and then any repair to those navigational aids, we're looking at $4,000. That's,
How much in previous years has it run? About that.
yes.
So you're not anticipating actually an increase, even though it shows as an increase.
It shows no increase.
No, it
So I-
shows an increase of 4,000 because you had zeros in previous years.
In the previous years, it was billed to the waterfront's maintenance
Right.
budget.
So there's a corresponding decrease in that budget?
Yes.
Thank you.
So the ACO,
So, and I'll say that, like, last year, we reduced the amount of aids substantially
For that.
to get our costs down.
Did we have any feedback about that at all?
Yes, people were very upset about the reduced number of aides, so one of the things I think we're gonna be looking at is increasing the number of aides. That affects our cost of installation and removal, it impacts our cost of maintenance. We, like I said, we had just maintained a bunch of the aides by updating chain
Yeah,
stuff on them last year, so they should be good, but I think part of it is I'd like to do so many every year so that we're not every 3 years having to do
yeah,
a bunch of them.
yeah, because they're gonna rust out and separate. And there's a lot of sandbars, particularly at the mouth of the river, that you can run around on, so,
You get a lot of storms too that change things. Storms
yeah, yeah,
changes it during the year.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this budget there is a between. I think the harbor master salary, I'm sorry, the ACO salary. And then the navigational aids, just those two things increase this budget by 8,000. Over 8,000. So this budget has an increase of 10,000,
990,
yeah, basically $11,000.
other questions for Nicole?
When will the harbor master start submitting timesheets? When when is it anticipated that he's going to actually work?
He is trying to determine our navigational aids
Right now?
for the board's meeting on Tuesday.
Here, when, let's approach it differently here. When will Public Works be putting the docks in?
I Public Works, we'd like to have the parks set up and ready by May 1st.
So. The harbor master presumably is gonna be. Ready to go on May 1st.
Yeah, I mean, he already is working on the navigational aids. Looking into this online system and looking at applications.
Okay, so you already hired him.
So the board has to formally appoint him, but he's already started working, so he'll submit a check sheet.
Anything,
Yeah.
okay.
He'll submit it,
Understood.
like all
Dog in the cart.
our hourly employees will submit timesheets every other week.
Okay. So we're in the process of rationalizing these stipend positions.
I've had a changeover in that position, so that position has been changed to hourly.
Any other questions for Nicole? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the ACO Harbor Master's budget as presented. All in favor, is there someone prepared to make that motion?
This is the expense portion. Correct. Not the revenue.
Correct.
Okay,
Somebody gonna do that or not?
so move.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second?
Second,
Linda. All in favor? 4-1.
Oh,
Yeah, understood. What's next, Nicole?
Administration,
You have a new one in road that
you do not. That is the 226.
that's it. You went from 40,000.
So we no longer have a assessing agent employee. It's now a hired firm.
Contract.
Yeah, so I've moved basically, number 4, the assessing personnel. We don't have an employee. Now we have a hired firm. So that is now under line 20 under assessing. I have an increase in the election stipends because we have a big election coming up. Expect that we're gonna need more staff. Election.
So primary, well, the primaries. That's from. In this current one. You're close.
The next year, is there even an election? It's an odd year.
We have the presidential election in November.
I know, but talking about primary, which we've already done, that's the current year.
Yeah.
Will there even be a primary next year at all?
I don't think so, but I'm always surprised. So we always have elections in June and November. March sometimes, sometimes not. But I think too, it might depend on if there's any federal primaries for any of our representatives.
It's an odd number of years, so it probably won't be.
When's Mills' term up? There's a governor.
D6,
The governor's term one is on all.
it's a 4-year, it's in the middle. But it will be, that election will be in 25th.
Thank you for cemetery sexton.
I'll say that one needs to change much more. I'm prioritizing which ones I need to make changes on, and part of it is working with mixed.
In the settlements. That's really sorry, I don't think about that. I'm just looking at cemetery sexton and, yeah, and,
I think part of it is too, he had another cemetery job, so he gives me a monthly report,
good.
which includes stuff that he does for us, stuff that he does for Bayview that isn't necessarily us, but then also what he calls his volunteer work.
Right.
Grant, yeah.
So,
And is it still stipend or just now hourly?
oh no, it's definitely a stipend.
Okay. But at some point, that's gotta be changed over.
Expect changes in the future.
A couple of questions. When will the assessing company provide updated assessments of the town properties, the residential property?
We're doing the reevaluation. We're scheduled for FY 26.
26. Thank you. Are the selectmen gonna go hourly?
No. So in these new laws that they wrote, they're one of the exempt folks.
Okay.
They are, and volunteer firefighters and EMS. are.
Okay. I think you ought to get more of a raise putting up with me. I'm serious.
So, I mean, so I think, like I said, I'm trying to budget and make those transitions. I'm in some of them, I'm not in a hurry to actually go through the process of changing, and then there's some that may, maybe much longer coming, but I think, Frank does a lot of volunteer work for this.
Frank doesn't want volunteer work for a lot of people.
So Frank and I have had some conversations, and that's where he wanted to leave it. I should say. Yep.
The big increase in workers' comp,
Yes.
You were talking about that before.
well, I guess I must have been sleeping.
What? I don't think you were here that night, actually.
Was it one person?
Yeah.
Was it several persons?
So we're in 2020, for 2023, we had a great year. But when they're looking at our workers' comp, they're looking at 22, 21, and 20. So next year, 20 will fall off. And we'll have 20, 21, and 23. So hopefully our insurance will start going in the other direction. Yes, they do it's a 3-year look.
We had that wrist injury.
We had a few injuries. Some more severe than others. I believe there's one still that I've been waiting for it to get closed out. And I'll have to double check to see if it has been closed out, because every time it looks like it's gonna get closed, it doesn't. I also look to switch our insurance to MMA, workers' comp, they would like our mod to be lower before they take us on as a client.
Because they're too risky.
We have a 2 mod current, yes.
Uh, who do we use for the software licenses and security?
Which line item are you looking at?
52.
We're on the next.
It's going up 18%.
Yes, so, we had to update. So Trio is our main software that we use for downstairs for processing. It's a municipal software. We just transferred from Trio Square because they're no longer gonna support that version of their software to Trio Web. And it's working wonderfully.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I think there's a lot of working out, and I'm really surprised at the number of bugs that we're running into, given that other towns have been using Trio Web for years. Like we're at the tail end of this transfer, like a lot of the risk towns that did the first year, second year. I almost want to say they're in their 4th or 5th year of this program. So I don't know if it's just some of the stuff when they transferred us that they miss a couple of things. So we're still working on, as we're doing more, we're finding new bugs and having to work with them to sort it out. So stuff is just taking a little bit longer at this point in time.
Is Tyler Technologies down in Cumberland? I think they're in the municipal software business. I wondered if they were an option.
So the software, I mean, I'm sure we can check on it. Tyler Industries, you said?
Tyler Technologies. I used to work with a guy, he worked at ADP, and he did a lot of payroll processing. Now he works with Tyler,
Mhm.
and they've expanded from one complex campus to second one. And he's down in Florida and all over the place. So,
So I'll say, I mean, we spend, our bill with Trio is 30,000 a year. That is cheaper than Munis. The 2 softwares that towns use, municipalities in Maine tend to be Trio or Munis. The bigger cities use Munis, it's more expensive, but I haven't heard good reports on that. I think if there was a good software out there that worked, I think they'd gain a lot of municipal business. Because I don't think there's a high satisfactory rate with either of the software programs that us municipalities are using.
well, maybe something to check out.
Is this now? Is Trio national or are they just regional or?
I don't know now. So I know that it was a smaller company. They've been purchased and now they're owned by Harris Systems. So they've grown. I don't know if they have different versions of their product for different states. So it's what we use. So we use it for all of our budgetary, for our payroll, for everything at the front desk, and all our property. And so you can buy different modules of Trio. We have a lot of them. And right now we're making our way through making sure our new software, like the other day, they were processing something, they realized that the inventory, the BMV inventory wasn't coming off. So we had to put in a ticket and get that fixed because our inventories weren't matching because we were processing stuff that wasn't working. So it's little things and you don't know what's not working until you try to do, let's do this transaction that we do once a week and then something's not catching right. So Kelly just did her first round of a payroll award for the select board. So, she worked out some bugs going through that process. So things are moving a little slower than we would like as we're getting used to the new software. But so that's the big thing is Trio. We also, so in terms of security, API, we have software through them, like we have a bunch of security in terms of Sophos and backups and I can invite, I think Lisa's gone, but Lisa can give a more detail of the layers of security stuff that we're paying on a monthly basis for monitoring and
Now, do we do physical backups or is it just in the cloud?
we are a cloud backup, I believe.
So you don't have any physical media?
We used to with the old server,
Mhm.
but we actually have a secondary device that serves as our backup with the cloud. So if our server went down, we can operate off of that.
I've been reading scary things about a lot of invasion by foreign entities, whether it's Russian or Chinese or whatever. And the stuff that they're pulling is scary.
Yep, so
Right now, the big thing is they're hitting water districts.
Huh,
well, I think they found, so Freeport had a big issue. Do you remember last year? So a lot of towns made a lot of changes, and I know we increased a lot of stuff. So we pay for our software, our Microsoft license are monthly, our Trio is a yearly. We also then pay for monthly and yearly services through API for securities and backups. And I can invite Lisa to give you more information on that. So I was trying, when I'm trying to split it, it's like, what are we paying for actual software and software security, and what are we paying? And then API also is our technology folks, so they do like, if we need something new set up, we need something run, there are technology.
What concerns me is the ability of people to crack our software from the outside. And apparently there's really very little that most municipalities, most local entities have done to prevent that. You get on a computer, you can get in to our software, into our town. This is what they're doing with water districts, and they discovered, oh, they're turning off water places.
It's scary what folks are doing.
Yeah, and I mean, this is out west where they desperately need it. Where did I see? It was like Kansas, I think, was the big one, and Montana, of all places. But you know, they run municipal water because that's what they have. But we are vulnerable. We need to recognize that.
It could, is there more that we could do or higher services that we could get? Absolutely.
Sure, it's a lot of expense.
There is a lot of expense.
It's just something to keep in mind. Keep your eye out for it and make sure that anybody that they do crack is you know about it as quickly as possible and try to do something.
I think one of the big issues is it's like staff training, just because of the phishing emails, the amount of phishing emails that are out there, and those are the big ways that folks get into the system.
Yep.
I guess, I mean, we're lucky in that we use an outside processor for credit cards. So that's all going to a third party site, and that's not something we would us.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if we got.
We still have a bank account or bank accounts. And we have investment accounts. And that's where all our money is.
But that's all separated from our operating.
It is and it isn't, because if you're making deposits, if you're spending money or making deposits, then you have a link to your bank. And that's one.
You do
Yeah, you make sure that you
We
have
have-
updated
Well, I
passwords
think-
to get in.
Well, yeah, but you will also see that. In your reports, you see that we have a couple different accounts. We have one account that stays at a certain amount. And that's the one that things point to, and we have. The other accounts that nothing points to.
You just do inter transfers.
Question, line 16 was the legal expenses. We're showing a $5,000 decrease, based on whatever litigation that that's in the pipeline.
It's all still in the pipeline. Nothing's happened this year. Given at the pace in which it has proceeded this year. One will probably be resolved next year. Will probably be another year before we get to the other one. Things are not moving at an exponential pace with these proceedings.
So you're comfortable with that 80 is more than adequate, given the time frame?
Given how, yes, because yeah. I mean, we do have to use our attorney, and we did budget because we do have some outstanding. We knew we were gonna be taking some legal action.
Well, we have to use our legal people to protect the interests of the town.
Right.
And so you're comfortable that we can do it for the 80 for this coming year?
At the pace things are moving,
Okay.
yes.
Go down to the next line 19, IT services. That number's been flat for a couple of years now.
Mhm.
Given all the conversation, this is when we switched from Burgess to, what is it, AD
API,
API?
Yep.
And so you're comfortable that that's still a good number?
yes, and I think part of that is because I have a staff person in-house that is able to do a lot of the I'll say easier stuff.
Okay, is that Kelly or somebody in okay.
So, she's able to do things that we used to have them do. I think the big change in the website is that we now have to pay for hosting. Which is unfortunate.
Who are we using?
We are moving to Aquidia. There was another option that was more cost effective, but it would have been an out of country host.
No, thank you.
So we are on the base package with this new firm, and we're part of one of the things that we're doing is trying to get the website cleaned up and stay below that threshold so that we don't have to buy up to the next package.
Our website is not very good, to be honest. You compare it to other municipalities. It just is not very responsive. It is not updated regularly in a lot of places.
Where is it? So I think, we update the events in the news on a weekly, at least basis.
Okay. I don't know, there was something I was looking at a little while ago, it was like 2022.
Yeah, some of the department stuff or project stuff will get old just because there isn't changes or new things put up. We've had this website for several years. That's something we can do a website update. We would need to budget to do a website update. I don't know what would be, if it's just the look of it, or if we want to just revise how things are navigated.
Yeah.
I think there's simple things that we could probably do in-house. But if we wanted a new website, we'd have to get an idea of what a new website would cost.
Yeah.
So if next time you're on the website, if you remember it, send me an email with the things that you're having issues with or suggestions. And then it just helps us, there might be some things, improvements we can make.
Yeah, I'm not on it frequently, but I run into issues in the past.
Yeah, well, when you do, just, like I said, if people, if we got feedback, we could, you know,
Mhm.
update what we can and see, like, maybe we can do something within budget if that doesn't involve a new website. But just let me know when you find things.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend who does websites. I mean, he built it for some significant people. He's not cheap at all.
It's not a cheap endeavor. So that's why if we can make updates to make it more functional for folks, or just give it a fresher look opposed to a full rebuild, it's something we would have to talk to our website person about and have more of a direction of what we're looking at doing.
Nicole,
Mhm.
I've just found the town facilities maintenance that we've already talked about, but I just wonder, we're projecting $1,000 town hall maintenance.
Mhm.
What's that?
I just don't know if something's gonna happen over there that I'm gonna need to, is a door gonna blow off and I need to.
Contingency.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I don't have anything planned. We've shut off power. We've shut off the water, so there shouldn't be any utilities. The window breaks, I need to fix it.
Gotcha.
So that's why I don't really need it, but I wanted to budget something
Yeah.
just in case something happens.
You still have insurance in place.
Yes,
Is that stated separately or is it included here?
it's part of our whole insurance.
Allied, so it is.
And the insurer is okay with having it vacant? And shut off?
I can let them know as well.
Sometimes they don't like that.
I mean, it is right there, so we can keep an eye on it. It's not hiding anywhere. Right now, it's shut down. And we've shut everything off. And then to the insurance, as we did mention the big increase in the workers' comp.
We're still, while we're talking about that, our safety program, all the departments have safety committees.
Yep, so we have a monthly safety committee meeting and we've been doing monthly trainings. The staff.
That's really the only way to really get on top of this. Yeah, $5,000 decrease in electricity is due to CM,
The 500, yeah. So. I was gonna hold it steady. But we have done a lot of upgrades here. My concern is. Now we're using electric more because of the heat pumps. But the heat pump should be more cost effective than the ACs that we run in the summer. And the space heaters that we used to run in the winter. So I think we talked about this before. I'd like to see a year of what our usage is gonna look like, with the upgrades and improvements that we've done.
I got a question and I forgot about it when we were looking at the planning budget. We used to budget for somebody to take notes for minutes of the planning board meetings, and I didn't see that in the planning budget. You know, it's.
It should be under the. It's under planning appeals, line 23, $2,000.
Other questions for Nicole about the administration budget?
Well, one thing, I know it's always a shot in the dark when you plan for insurance for health insurance type of thing, because you just don't have an idea. But to my recollection, we've always budgeted more than we've actually spent. I don't recall any year
Well-
we were under.
I am now budgeting per employee. There was, in the past, they were budgeting based on what employees were taking.
Yep.
And not for the position, and that's where we ran into. Like, we had a full-time position that benefits weren't budgeted for, because they hadn't been taking them.
So
So I'm budgeting for the position that's going to take some level of insurance. I'm not budgeting at the most expensive insurance, and that way, if I have people come on, some might go on the low, some might go on the high, and I've budgeted in between them. Like, if everyone signed up and went to that in program, I wouldn't have enough.
Right. It's just again, it's a historical thing where we've always been over budgeted. And I'd like to take a look at like the last 5 years. And because that's a significant expense. And if we take a look, maybe we can knock the projection down a bit.
And then people take insurance.
Well, you use a contingency, you don't make it the average. And what you do is you weight it. Like the most recent year, you'd go like 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. They get you to do 100, but you can do it by recent, or you can do it by the most expensive year. And weight it that way and see how it comes out, either one. But typically, you're going to come out with a number probably reasonably close. And then you add 10%, 15%, whatever, so that you get an idea of whether you're in the ballpark. But without going through the history, you can be off significantly.
Currently, we have several employees that don't take insurance.
It's fine. But I hate to end up with, $20,000 that we budgeted that is not going to be there, not going to have to do. It can be significant. I just want to go back through a few years and I can work it out probably for next week.
and which line item in this budget is that?
That's going to be overall. It's where is that?
Asking Jeffrey, suggesting the budget, I'm trying to figure out which line item it is.
It's going to be a number of different departments. Because it's all the employees for each department. So the overall is what you need to look at. You look at the overall budget for the health insurance, the employee benefits, and see how that comes out compared to actual for the year in total. And typically it's been, we've over budgeted significantly.
So what we don't spend goes back into fund balance.
Right, but in the meantime, we're hitting people with the taxes for this money. That we don't really need to.
Well, that's the question whether we need to or not.
Right. And you want to be conservative,
Yeah.
but the thing is that,
What Nicole's saying is, you know, historically, we've looked at it and we've said that, you know, X number of people don't take this benefit.
mhm,
But the problem is Sally leaves, she wasn't taking the benefit,
Right.
now we hire Tom, Tom needs the benefit.
sure,
We've gotta make sure we're covered.
but this is going to be reflected in history. That type of activity. It's not going to be, and we're not going to have lose people and gain people all over the place.
So we don't
I
have,
don't think that, I mean, so we just did that.
Mhm,
So we now have staff that have been here 1 to 3 years.
right,
I don't want to lose anyone anytime soon, but I don't think,
you will.
I will.
It's inevitable,
right. And I think this brings up the point George made previously was putting all the insurance into one department because I have, like, if I have a department of 1 and they don't take it and I don't budget for it, or I budget half of the amount and I get an employee that takes it, there's not a budget in that department. That department's going over. So part of it is that each department is budgeted. It'd be, I think, easier to do what you're saying if it was together.
Right.
Where stuff is split up between departments.
you're going to have more just
Can't.
turnover in some departments than you do in others. Public Works has been a lot of turnover. I
Mhm.
don't think it's bad right now. And then the office here, you had a lot of turnover for a while. Hopefully you don't.
That is the hope.
Right. But if you consolidate it all, just one number, whether it's, 100,000 versus actual of 60,000 or whatever, that's substantial difference. But you wanted to do it over a period of years. Yeah, so you have a history because that's going to reflect kind of an average term. You don't just do it based on last year. That's where you're going to shoot yourself.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, like, but I know who takes insurance, I know what people's plans are, so I could say, this is what we're paying.
Right.
But I also know our rates are going up
Sure.
halfway through the budget year.
Yeah.
Which is the other issue we run into.
Yeah, that's because
Is our-
they changed the rates in January, right? Yes.
So I'm
Always.
budgeting position and then I don't do anything additional because I know I have that flexibility.
Right. What do you generally project for an increase, like 15-20%?
For the half year. So I'm budgeting on a position. I know I have people that don't take the insurance.
Right.
If they're not taking it, so if they left 3 months into the year, what they didn't take would cover increase for the next person.
But I'm talking, if you're looking at overall
Insurance,
insurance rates,
we've had some years, so we've had a couple of years in the high teens, but it's usually around 10.
so if you use like 15%, that's a reasonable amount. I mean, I want to throw that into the mix. That'd be. So you might be over a little, you might be under a little, but shouldn't be huge.
And the 2 departments we could do that with would be, public works and admin, who would be able to do with the other department.
Yeah.
Was that in the admin? I think we have 1, 2, 3. We have enough full-time employees in those 2 departments that it could work.
gee,
Have we beat this up enough?
That's my line normally. No, I can't.
I'll just work on some numbers and bring it next week and you can take a look at it and see how it looks like.
Okay, sound good. So do we want to defer this administrative budget for next week, or can we hold it?
I move it.
Okay, it's been moved that we adopt the administration budget as presented. Is there a second? Oh, not yet. Thank you. All in favor?
I'll abstain on that.
Okay, so it's 4 and 1 extent. Thanks.
Abstention.
Thank you, John.
All right. So the next budget is capital reserves. This is the big one. This is, should have, from your original packet dated 2/26, and you also should have had this paper along with it. So it shows you how it breaks down. I'm ready.
I thought the agenda said debt service.
We haven't got through our expense budget yet.
Okay, so
Say capital reserve,
That
26.
226,
Correct.
13.
So as we discussed at the beginning of the year, we wanted to hold it flat at 650. Done that. Any questions?
Yes. I think I put it in the email. When we boil down the undesignated fund balance of $1,000,004-ish, is the aggregate amount of the capital reserve accounts taken into account before we get to the,
So the reserve account, the money in the reserve accounts is not part of the undesignated fund. The reserve accounts are designated funds.
so they're already accounted for?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. One other question. And I am getting older, but Public Works. 487,000, of which 47 is an increase. 350 is the roads. What's the other 137 for?
All right, so Public Works, we've had a $2,000 to future repairs. Works. 20,000 for the future replacement of the 2020 truck. 50,000 is for so we want to replace truck 5. That's where we wanted to put 50,000 in, sell truck 5 and get a used truck for 100,000. Then 15,000 for the future replacement of our 2018 and 2020 trucks. 5,000 towards the replacement of the what they refer to as the truck 1, the Dodge Ram. 15,000 for future replacement of heavy equipment and 15,000 for other equipment. So that's 135, and then you add the 2, so 137.
So in essence, this is a savings account, a specific savings account for a known
Yep,
capital equipment replacement down the road.
correct. And
Great.
so, and if we're planning for one truck and one truck does really well, one truck doesn't do well, like there's flexibility, so you're not tied to certain things. So if you're planning truck 5 and truck 4 dies, you can change it, but no, I mean, if you're looking at the overall, what we do is we have the inventory of all our equipment. Its lifespans, what do we need to save to be able to replace it when it reaches its projected end of its lifespan? And once we get closer to replacement, we know, can it last a couple more years,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
this isn't gonna last a couple more years.
yeah.
But yes, so.
So we can't have a party with the money. It's gotta go to the,
I really wanted to go to Hawaii. No, I mean, so what the Public Works Reserve is, Public Works, it's building, it's equipment, it's trucks, it's actually sand and salts, it's roads, so we're planning for something,
yeah,
so we don't have to borrow for it.
gotcha.
So
And I'm,
that's the big goal, is we don't, when we get to replacing this truck, and I was trying to get to where it is that we have it, the replacement scheduled for. So money's
it's
in the
there,
reserve, we can purchase the truck, we're not borrowing.
all for them.
And I think the areas in which we're saving money and we're still going to need to borrow are the bigger fire trucks. The goal is to save money so that we'll have half
Yeah,
it down.
uh,
But yeah, so this is Public Works.
yep. Good answer, good answer. As I mentioned earlier, you got the town hall and town office line item at the top. Which facility is the $40,000 reserve earmarked for?
So what is plans for? I'm going to my larger.
Okay, let me cut to the chase. Is it any money reserved for the town hall?
That's what so I took that one off because we were looking at some, but it's so big of what we need to do. So it's for the town office.
Yeah,
As you know, we've been trying to make upgrades here at the town office.
it's zero for the town hall.
Correct.
Okay.
I was just trying to get the specifics on it.
We can a lot of that for the youth. Big part of it.
So we've done the roof.
Oh, we saw it.
We're doing the chimney this spring, so we've done that. Oh, where is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Electrical work is 10,000. Replacing some torn rugs. They've been flagged as tripping hazards on our monthly safety inspections. There's been some electrical that we've flagged. And then I have 20,000 for repairs and upgrades, things that we've talked about doing that we still need to do more work on, is we've talked about access. Looking at that, we've talked about security cameras, and we've also talked about files. We really do need to address our file maintenance in terms of our historical files.
So we're paying them to do it.
That storage of the physical files. Talking about.
Yeah, because we have to keep all the birth and death and so there is a lot of documents that we have to keep for a long period of time,
Okay.
and they're all supposed to be kept.
Fireproof cabinets and.
So one of the things that we're looking at is, because fireproof cabinets are not cheap and they're not really fireproof, they're fire resistant. So looking at what some of our options are, and I'll be honest, this building always brings up surprises when we change something. So, I mean, originally we had a renovation for here, we pushed that like 10 years down the road. So what are some smaller projects that we can do to make this building last? And if we can get it to last longer than 10 years, great. So it's smaller investments in specific projects to improve the use and longevity of this facility.
Very true.
So I will say, there are some things that, if you look at the big list, the number that we'd be putting in reserves is higher. But I wanted to, obviously, we wanted to cut that back to meet last year's. But I think, if you go to the big plan that you have, what we would be putting into reserves is 168,000. To get it down to the 650, we removed the town hall and we cut back on public works. And at some point in time, we may need to catch up, but I think there's flexibility in what we're putting in.
What budget works did you get that?
So the 5,000 to the town hall repairs got taken out.
That's a public works, but. Public work.
Right, no, I'm just looking at what, I'm comparing the two. The $40,000 for the impervious area. We took that out. Well, we ran into. We did have some other stuff. I'm just comparing my thoughts here. Public Works, 20, 50, 15, 15. Okay. So those were the two big things that we took out, and I think I ended up having to increase fire for the generator. So this is the long range plan. And then this is this year plan, trying to figure that out. But like I said, this is a long range plan, we can make adjustments. I mean, we update this every. Any questions on the capital reserve budget?
One thing that very helpful public works, I talked to Brian the other day, we have that contracting. Disposal. Now, he said that is going to save them roughly $2,000 about every 6 weeks.
That's.
That's solid waste.
That's. Like.
Okay, solid waste, but
No, not the reduction in the hauling is gonna save us a lot next year for solid waste.
right,
And the reduced fee.
and that thing didn't cost us a nickel.
Oh, we used our ARPA funds for purchasing that, yep.
Right.
No, so going back to our trash. Oh, so we dropped. We're looking at a $19,000 savings. From hauling. And then a $5,000 savings with the reduced price from Casella to Ventura.
Any other questions about the capital reserve accounts? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion that we approve the capital reserve amounts as presented here. Jim? So, is there a second? Sure.
Oh, no, they got.
Jeff got ahead of you. All in favor? Aye. Vote is 5-0. Okay.
So we're gonna hold on Public Works. So I just wanted to give you an update on the fire and rescue, because we do have the updated contract amount, so you approved the fire department budget when I had $180,000 in the budget for the contract. The ambulance contract is gonna be $177,658. So, the new budget, instead of being $114,350, is gonna be, I'm sorry, that's, I don't know, it shall be $412,008. So we're going from 414 to 412. So
Every little bit helps.
I did a lot of research between the last meeting and this on fire trucks. And I'm happy to share that with the committee or you or whoever. I know it's, the budget was approved, but we still got that fire truck purchase hanging over the,
Yeah.
over our head.
be to meet with you to talk at some
Yeah,
point, or if you want to do it in a meeting, we can, but I,
at your leisure.
okay. So would the committee be willing to approve the updated fire department budget
Yes.
with the new slightly reduced number?
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the revised fire and rescue budget? Gene?
I wasn't suggesting that we approve it, I just wanted to add one thing. That the National Fire Protection Association says that we should mothball or take out of service a fire truck at 25 years, which would be 2027. So I will agree that the $750,000 deal that we've got looks attractive, but there are 46 fire truck manufacturers in the United States. And there's also leasing options. I wonder whether we really want to own a fire truck that's gonna not worth a whole lot once it reaches that.
Once we've had it for 25 years?
Yeah, so maybe lease, if it's not more expensive, maybe leasing is something that we should look into. And there are companies that are ready, willing, and able to provide leasing quotes. The other thing was that that I think we should feel comfortable pushing the can down the road until 26 because of that National Fire Protection Association recommendation that we can squeeze 25 years out of a truck before.
So the reason we were looking at getting approval because we want the truck to be delivered in 27. And it takes, right now, a fire truck is 18 months to 2 years out on getting it
And
manufactured.
that's why I bring up the 46 options out there. That somebody may be more hungry than not.
Because folks were waiting 2 years for trucks and now the manufacturer time's coming back down.
And I think what the chief did was send out requests with what might you be, what can you build for us that's below 750? And he got 2 companies that replied. So I don't know if he went to all 46. But
Yeah.
he went to a wider thing, and two said they would make something that he wanted for below 750.
There was some recent data. 2022, Portland bought 3 fire trucks for 7-ish. Williston in 2000 and something, maybe 19, bought one for 7-ish. I talked to the former fire chief of the Orrington Fire Department. I haven't run into him, and he said that they just bought one for just shy of $1 million. So it obviously depends on the specs. The manufacturer, the Cat or Detroit diesel or Cummins diesel and the size of the tank and all that, but I guess I came away with that there's, there's a pretty broad market for who we get a truck from. And the leasing option may be something we want to consider if it's gonna save us money. And, we don't have to have the Cadillac and fire trucks because, Lewiston and Portland have got buildings that are 6 to 20 stories high, so they need a bigger truck with more capacity. Well, most of our structures are shorter. That's my report, I guess.
Thank you.
It was interesting.
No, it sounds it.
Well, I appreciate Gene, work you put into.
Cost me $20 to get the Origin guy to. He was selling raffle tickets. So I bought the $20 raffle ticket and he opened right up. I'll tell you anything you wanna know.
Do you happen to a list or can you point me in the direction of the different?
Sure.
That'd be
Happy to do it.
good, thank you. So,
Okay, so that takes us back to our revised fire and rescue department budget, which we're now showing a total of 412,000. The chair would entertain a motion that we approve this. So, Mr. Chairman, Jane, thank you. Good. That's nice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Only 5-0.
all right. And then on solid waste and recycling, there's no change to the budget. I just wanted to give you the update because last meeting you said you wanted to change the revenue. So with the increase in revenue, that brings our total revenue for this department to 100,500, which brings our net cost to taxpayers down to 117,446. So no action needed. I just wanted to give you the updated note based on the change to the revenue.
And the additional revenue was,
We added 1,500 in revenue for the recycled materials.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
In question, was it the $5,000 for the second entrance? Which is, I think, not part of this budget.
Correct.
And is that going to be a separate line item on the budget?
So I'll be discussing the transfer station item with the select board at their meeting next week. And we'll see if they want to add it to a budget or if they want to take it from the reserves. There's funding in the reserve for us to be able to do the entrance and the transfer facility.
And I've also, following the minutes of the, I know Alan would like to have us, the town vote on whether to have a transfer station. And I thought this might serve that purpose also, the $5,000 instead of it being who knows how big. It's basically, there's his vote and it doesn't jeopardize the recycling if it was attached to that. So that was my thinking.
So yeah, there's nothing in the proposed budget for it.
Could we go on record as supporting if we are supporting the transfer station as a source of additional revenue to lower the cost to the taxpayer?
I don't see why not.
I would make that motion.
Do we need a motion or is it just a recommendation?
It's, I think what I would suggest is that I would entertain a motion that the Finance Advisory Committee recommend to the select board. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, someone prepared to make that motion?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
okay. And we're recommending to the select board that we pursue the transfer station option.
Yes,
Okay,
to increase the potential revenue to the town and decrease the burden on the taxpayer.
Would it be too complex to limit it to the access so that people wouldn't think we're planning on $100,000 building? We're just talking about access so that we can bring in refrigerators on a monthly basis instead of twice a year.
well,
We need.
that's down in the weeds and the details. All we're doing here is recommending that the select board pursue the transfer station option in order to generate additional revenue.
Because Brian told me that they tried to do this before and the select board shot him down and didn't give him a reason. And that didn't set well with me because the town has a history of recycling and they're mad or they're not happy with not being able to bring their stuff on a regular basis. So and that perhaps the people in Bowden would want to partake of that service as well.
And I think without knowing, it wasn't, I think they were going to shut it down. This is pure speculation. I wasn't there, but because they were afraid it was going to be a big number. The alternative when they did the study was over $1 million. And so there's a lot of site work that needs doing, drainage has to be changed, $4,000 worth, 4,000 yards worth of grading material have to be brought in, buildings, 3 buildings, 4 buildings.
Yeah.
That was the fear. What we're talking about here and what is $5,000 for a gate.
Yeah,
And that's why I think whatever the objections were, we're just talking about a gate so that the trucks can be there and we unload our stuff and it's put in we're not talking about the building part. We're not talking about the $1 million.
right.
And so that's why I'm pushing the $5,000.
Yeah, and I don't think spending $1 million would be a good idea either.
So what we are is we have a motion to recommend to the select board that they pursue the transfer station option in order to generate revenue. Just we need to vote on that. All in favor? Vote is 5-0. Okay.
So the last budget that you could approve is the debt service budget. And then we'll save finalizing public works and the general services budgets for next time, along with the mayor meeting hall. So
And I'm also going to be a little lobbying for to look at revenues.
yep, revenues are for next time as well. Yep.
What do we, I thought we excluded.
No, we asked for additional information. We invited them to come to the next meeting.
Have not chosen to do that.
Well, the next meeting's next week.
This is a question.
This is a special, yes, yeah. So it's not that they didn't do a no show, it's just, all right, so.
It was easy.
Australia.
So which page are we looking at? It's not this colorful one.
no, just the debt service budget for next year. What you see on the paper that shows general services and debt services. So you could approve the debt service budget and we'll wait on the general services budget because we need to circle back on the very needed call requests. So that will be next time along with public works and revenues.
Okay. That's it.
And you've already reviewed it once, so you might have already marked it in, but then have a Google about it. Or we can, if you would rather do it next time, because it will still be easy when next time to get you.
One thing I'd like to point out is that, going back to years 19 and 20, our debt service that year was 374,000. And this year it's 697. The proportion of the budget for 19 and 20 was 19.4%. That's how much of our budget was going to pay debt service. This year, it's 16.6%. It's down almost 3%.
It's funny you should say that. I did the same calculation. However, if you compare the debt service, the annual debt service requirement of 697, and you compare it to the unassigned, unspoken for fund balance.
The undesignated fund, so the undesignated fund balance is really so that we have the cash flow to pay our bills for 2 months. That's what that is.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is that the undesignated fund balance, the 1 year debt service is 48% of the undesignated fund balance. And the FY 29 debt service of 937,000 is 64% of the current undesignated fund balance. And I would say that that's out of balance. And I wondered if we looked at the budget with what we're gonna owe the school and what we're gonna owe the county. And then, because we can't get out of that. So what does that net figure look like compared to the debt service? And I was surprised when I came to that same 16%. Because that seemed like a low number, but we have those two major obligations, and then we have to fund the operations of the business of the town.
Right.
I just,
That's what our fund balance is primarily aimed at. If you don't have, it's pretty much mandated by GASB, Government Accounting Standard.
yeah, right.
No, not GAP,
Oh.
Generally Accepted Principle.
Oh.
This is GASB, which is regulatory.
Gas,
GASB, generally accepted, or government accepted principles.
okay,
And GAP is just general. Okay, this is specific.
that's what I was to look at.
Yeah, the GAP, but that's, they recommend a minimum of 2 months expenditures.
Right,
And that is, and if you don't do that, then you have to you end up with a
Yeah,
line of credit
yeah,
that you pay.
you take out a revenue anticipation bond, and
Right.
Anticipation bond. And I say we're bill heavy in September and October. And taxes are due in November. Right, so September and October are when the county is due. The bulk of our debt service is due. And then all our, we're already paying school and all the other stuff, but,
We do have sufficient funds to cover those right now.
so that's why when you're looking at your undesignated fund, right now we have it as, it's like a 2 months. So we just look at our overall budget and divide it by 6, and that's 2 months, whereas what we pay every month is very different. We have very high, a high percentage of our debt service, and then the county bill, which is, 600,000, go out in October. And because a lot of our bond payments are due in November, so you actually have to, those get processed in like September, beginning of October as well.
July and August tend to be pretty light though. Compared to,
For that part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if a new budget, everyone's like, we have a new budget, it's like, well, we're not getting revenue in, so.
and I think I mentioned some of these things in my email. I'm looking at estimated debt service payments, 2/28, 2024.
Oh, yeah,
The $1 million approved bond, which will increase our debt service dramatically to the tune of $145,000 a year. If we take it all, and I asked the question, are we gonna take it all? Or can we take it in lumps? 3 lumps?
so, I mean. So we got our roadwork bids back. They came in good, which is great news. I think that's gonna, do we wanna do the full slate of road work? Or do we wanna take less of a bond and push off some road work? Given the condition of some of our roads, I don't think it's not gonna help us save money by delaying.
That's how we got in trouble in the beginning.
yeah,
But I do, so, and I'm hoping the rates, so if the board awards the bid at their meeting next week, then I'll go out to bid for a bond.
How much?
Well, I do the up to the million, if they want to do that full set. And then if we want to do, then we would do a change order to complete the road work project after town meeting approval. Because some of the money for this project is coming from the anticipated $350,000 that we're asking to be approved.
The reserve.
Yeah, so we're budgeting 350, so we have money, so we've gone out to bid for the road work. We have an approved bond, so we know we can enter a contract for that work. And then after town meeting, assuming it gets approved, then we would do a change order with the contractor for the rest of the work.
Oh, over multiple years.
No, this is all for this summer.
So you do $1 million worth of work in 1 year?
That's what we're-
I thought we were looking at $350 a year,
No, so. Once
or
we're.
3 miles of road per year.
Yeah, once we're caught up, that would be like, if the town would, $350 a year should get us, depending on the road, like the conditions of the road, 3 miles a year, we have 30 miles of road. But we haven't done that in 10 years, so we're playing catch up. So part of the bond is, it's really helping get caught up where we should be.
So,
So we're doing more than 3 miles a year now, because if we just started doing 3 miles a year, we'd fall even further. So Ridge Road, which is part of, well, if it passes, Ridge Road would be up for that next, that hasn't been paved in 15 years. And that's why it's in the condition it is. So we could get stuff on a 10-year schedule, we just need to get caught up. So the bond's really catching us up on the roads that have been base paved and didn't get their surface coat. And some of these roads were base paved 5 years ago, so they really need to get their surface coat to get their full thickness of pavement. And then our prices came in good. One of the roads that we would have liked, we can't do an overlay on, there's nothing left of the road really to overlay, and it has to be a rebuild. It's gonna be a grind and pave, and that's carting machine 1. I don't know if anyone's been down carting, like we've just done most of carting machine, it was dirt, it's been turned from dirt to brand new pavement, then you get to the section of carting machine that's always been pavement. And that's now a grind pave. So the bond would pay for that.
So could you share the range of the quotes that you received?
Yep, so there was about a $300,000 difference from our low bid to our high bid. With our low bid, so part of it, the bids are based on with a price per quantity. So I expect us to go over because we're gonna have with the shims, there'll be more quantity used. Like it was last time. And then we'll be looking at doing hopefully a changeover for the parking lot. So one of the things we did was to get the parking lots to be part of what would be allowed to be paved. I don't know, we've all been here and the parking lot is in need of a surface coat. So
Could I phrase it another way? What's the low number, what's the high number?
for the work,
Yeah,
I don't have it. So it was just under 1.3 for the bid, the winning bid. So then you add in contingency, so that's probably 100,000. And then you have the parking lot, which I already know would like to be a change order. And then we see whether we want to, take less or do more to get caught up. Because we have 2 sections of road. So Fisher Road last year, we didn't pave the whole thing. We only did a mile of it. So depending on how the quantities turn out, do we finish it? Or carting machine, we're just looking at doing the grind and pave. Do we get this top coat on and just be done with carting machine? Because we've been out on carting machine a lot over the last 4 years between base paves and overlays and so forth.
so how many miles of road do we get for the 1.3 million?
It's gonna be, so that the 1.3 is the base bid plus the overlay.
So 2 coats on one road?
No, so we bid it, we did a base bid. This is the road work that we know we're funded for. And then we did an alternate bid, which is the road work that we haven't been funded for. But should we be funded, we'll do a change order with them, because we want them to bid the whole package. So we know what we're gonna be getting. Does that make? So the
You
base
lost
bid,
me.
yeah, so the
You
base
lost me.
bid was Abigadasset, Wilds, Port Point. I should go downstairs and grab, do you all mind if I just run downstairs and grab my package, or do you wanna?
So how late do we want to go on here?
I wouldn't bother.
If you want it, when you come in, we'll talk fire trucks and I'll go over the road stuff.
Okay, great.
Is that a deal? You give me fire truck information, I'll give you. But no, it's a big package. Because we're also, part of the alternate bid is finishing Ridge Road, which is 3 miles in itself just to finish Ridge Road.
Yeah.
That section of carting machine, that's a grind pave, is 1.4. We're doing the second coat out on Dingley to finish what We did,
The other going to pave on your capital improvement for roads was South Pleasant Street.
that's on the list as it's part of the alternate bid for a, shim. So that's one of the alternates. Bridge Road's an alternate, and there was one more road that's an alternate. And I apologize, I was just looking at it.
Could we recommend to the selectmen that we take the town hall off of the estimated debt service payment schedule, capital improvements schedule?
So I can tell you, so as of currently, we're not planning on asking anything for town hall this year. The Community Development Advisory Committee is working on amending the TIF district so that we can use TIF funding to renovate the building for economic development, so we can host things and do business sales and markets.
So there'd be no tax dollars. There'd be no tax dollars for the town hall.
Yeah, so I mean, I try to update this yearly for example, the EMS service for facility equipment. Last year, we were like, are we gonna have to do this on our own? So it was up the schedule. So I've pushed it back to FY 29. I mean, that's 5 years away. I think once we're signing the contract, we're gonna be contracting with Lisbon Emergency. We're looking at developing an interlocal agreement with Lisbon and Bowdoin for the service. In the future, do we develop something so that an ambulance can be housed here? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, so that might get pushed to FY 32, FY 42. This is in the beginning stages, but I do know, I just wanted to bump it at least 5 years. Like, this isn't something that it's an emergency. Like last year, we were like, are we gonna have to move on something right away? We were able to avoid that. So you see the fire truck, but then you see, so the future fire truck, that's down on 32. Then you see another fire truck that's down on 35. The plow truck, we've talked about changing that so that instead of borrowing for that, we want to put money in reserve and purchase a used truck. So that's gonna go away. Then you have the future purchase of a plow truck, which comes in on down 32. Recycling facility. We may want to do something in a few years. We might not want to do something for 15 years. I'm just trying to, whatever isn't on we're saving for, I'm putting here, and as things move down the schedule, they continue to move down. Town hall, now we're looking at using the TIF, so we don't need to borrow for it. And then the town office, we punted that last year to 32. And I think there's a lot of smaller improvements we could make to this building opposed to having a new facility.
Keep it serviceable for an indefinite period of time.
I mean, eventually, might the town want to do it, either renovate this or do something new? Possibly. I'd like to not have to do that for a while. I think it's a while. Right, so I think this is just, and if we can get this stuff down substantially, I mean, I think that's the goal, but just trying to see what we're looking.
Entertain the motion for cutting reserves, if we do that.
Yes.
Capital reserves, we haven't done the debt service. And we're not approving taking on debt service, we're just approving the paying of the debt service we've already taken. So we have an estimated budget of debt service of $697,361 for a debt service budget.
God Almighty.
So move.
Second,
Jeff and Nina. Guess we don't have any on that. All in favor? Vote is 4-0. None opposed?
Yeah. That's what this is stuff we already incurred. It's not anything new. This is stuff.
I think we've incurred too much.
But we can't really pay.
Dental worth standpoint, which applies to any business, commercial, nonprofit, municipal, a debt to worth of 7 to 1 is wicked heavy. And that's gonna bite us in the butt when we go to borrow money in the future, or people are gonna say no, because you got too much already on your debt. But that's just me.
And just a quick, sorry, did I give you all the balance for the home heating fund?
Yes.
Okay, so we have
I
that.
don't see. I don't-
Great, so we have, 35,000. Nearly 36,000 in the heating.
is this one with home heat?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I did give it to you.
Oh, I got it, yes.
The sheet I have shows 59,509.
So that's this year.
Yeah.
So we have this year's debits and this year's credits, but our overall balance is the 35,800.
Okay, I don't have that.
It's right on
Right on the top.
the top.
Oh, okay.
And it shows us a negative balance, but it's really not.
So that's the full.
Yes. So so what you're seeing is the line items for what's happened this year. And that's the total. And then, so I did give you the email from our auditor answering the questions about the investments. Okay. We just hadn't talked about it, so I didn't know if I just made a copy of it for myself. Would you like a copy?
Yes, please. I would have read that with interest.
I apologize. And did I answer all your debt service
You know what,
questions?
I have maybe your packet over there on.
No, it was.
So I picked that up.
Tom's. I intended to print off your email and I didn't. So if I didn't answer any of your questions, that means. That's all I have for today.
So the 5905 is included in the 35,825.
Correct. We have some very generous donors for that account.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn. All in favor? We're adjourned.
Such fun.